How to make someone who doesn't value you obsessed is the hardest lesson you'll ever learn. How to stop chasing those who don't value you. But what if the secret to gaining their obsession is not to pursue them at all? In fact, it's in your complete detachment that their longing begins. This is a story of mastering the art of self-control and emotional detachment, a lesson in Stoicism that goes beyond philosophy and becomes a way of life. The power to make someone obsessed with you isn't about games or manipulation. It's about realizing the power you hold when you stop caring about their approval. Part 1. The Power of Detachment. Introduction to the protagonist, Jordan. Jordan's life has always been marked by rejection. They had been the person who constantly sought validation from others, trying to please them in hopes of gaining approval. But there was one person who stood out. Alex, someone Jordan had admired from afar for years. Alex was charming, aloof, and completely indifferent to Jordan's attempts to get close. Despite the long, consistent efforts, Jordan was perpetually ignored, and each attempt only made the emotional wounds deeper. Jordan was tired of feeling invisible, of loving someone who didn't even seem to notice. That's when they stumbled upon a chance encounter with an old mentor who spoke of Stoicism. The words struck a chord deep within Jordan, resonating with something they had long searched for: peace. The Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, spoke of emotional mastery, of controlling one's responses to life's challenges, and of letting go of the need for external validation. Introduction to Stoicism. The philosophy intrigued Jordan, and they quickly became obsessed with it. Stoicism was like a balm to their heart, offering relief from the endless cycle of seeking approval from others. They began reading and learning more about this ancient wisdom, realizing that true power came not from making others see their worth, but from seeing it in themselves. Jordan's journey was about to shift dramatically, but they didn't know that yet. Part 2. The Beginning of Change. Putting Stoicism into practice. With newfound resolve, Jordan started implementing Stoic principles into their life. They focused on the things they could control, their own behavior, thoughts, and responses. They deliberately chose not to reach out to Alex anymore. No more texts. No more hoping for that one moment of acknowledgement. Instead, Jordan shifted their focus inward, dedicating time to their career, passions, and physical health. They started meditating, journaling, and setting clear goals for their personal growth. Slowly but surely, they began to feel a sense of calm, an emotional distance that wasn't cold but freeing. The effect on Alex. At first, Alex didn't notice anything unusual, but as the weeks went by, something shifted. Alex had always found Jordan's constant need for attention a bit draining, but now there was an eerie calm in their presence. Jordan's usual eagerness had vanished, replaced by a quiet confidence that seemed to shine even when they weren't trying. Alex began to feel something stirring, curiosity, perhaps even admiration, as they realized that Jordan wasn't chasing them anymore. Something about the change in Jordan intrigued Alex. Where was the old, needy version of Jordan? What happened to that person who was always looking for validation? Alex couldn't figure it out, and that mystery only made them more interested. It was as if Jordan had become a distant star, out of reach, but still shining with a brilliance that Alex couldn't ignore. Part 3. The Power Shift. Alex's growing obsession. Days turned into weeks, and Alex began to actively seek out Jordan. They would casually drop by their workplace or message them, perhaps hoping to rekindle the old dynamic. But Jordan, while polite, remained detached, not falling back into the old pattern of emotional dependency. Instead, Jordan spoke about their goals, their progress, their newfound sense of purpose, things that had nothing to do with Alex. The more Jordan withdrew, the more Alex seemed to chase. They called, texted, and even made unsolicited attempts to spend time with Jordan. But each time, Jordan's response was measured, cool, and distant. Alex's interest grew, but now it was tinged with confusion. Why didn't Jordan need them? Why didn't they seem to care whether or not Alex was in their life? The emotional push and pull began, and Alex found themselves desperate for Jordan's attention. They couldn't quite understand it, but they had to admit that Jordan's detachment made them want them even more. Alex tried to break the distance, making small gestures of affection, but Jordan remained resolute. For the first time, the power dynamic was shifting. It was Alex who was now seeking validation. Jordan's internal struggles and growth. Despite Alex's growing interest, Jordan wrestled with inner turmoil. Part of them wanted to indulge in the attention and let down their guard, but the Stoic philosophy they had embraced told them to resist the temptation. The true test was not in winning Alex's affection. It was in maintaining inner peace, in not being swayed by external forces. Jordan knew that accepting Alex's attention could mean slipping back into the old patterns of needing someone to define their worth. This was a moment of growth. Jordan faced a choice between indulging in external validation or continuing to practice emotional mastery. They leaned on the teachings of the Stoics, reminding themselves that true happiness comes from within, from knowing their own value, and not from someone else's approval. Part 4. Mastery of Self. The final test. One evening, Alex finally confessed their feelings to Jordan, admitting they had become obsessed with the change they had seen in Jordan. They confessed that Jordan's independence was intoxicating, and for the first time, Alex saw Jordan as someone who wasn't just a reflection of their needs, but as a person who stood firm in their own worth. However, this confession placed Jordan at a crossroads. Alex's feelings were genuine, but Jordan had grown so much that they weren't sure if returning to that old dynamic was in their best interest. Stoicism had taught them that no one, not even Alex, should have the power to shake their inner peace. They realized that they no longer wanted to be loved from a place of desperation. They didn't want a relationship built on someone else's obsession or need. Conclusion: Jordan's final decision was not easy. They chose to remain steadfast in their self-worth, letting go of the idea that love from others could complete them. They chose to continue their journey of self-discovery, strengthening their character and remaining emotionally independent. The realization was clear. The obsession Alex felt was fleeting. What remained, however, was Jordan's unwavering belief in their own worth. They had learned the greatest lesson of all. The secret to making someone obsessed with you is to stop caring whether they do. Jordan moved forward, knowing that their peace was not dependent on any external force. They were whole on their own, and that, ultimately, was the most powerful form of attraction. Themes explored: the power of detachment. True freedom comes when you stop seeking validation from others. Self-worth. You are enough on your own, and others will start to see your value when you recognize it in yourself first. Emotional mastery. Using Stoicism to remain calm, focused, and unshaken in the face of external forces.